Pittsburgh Steelers coming off a great win against their AFC North rival, the Bengals, and now they're looking for revenge against the Browns, who beat them just a couple weeks ago. My name's Tyler, here with my brother Ryan, and we're going to break down this Week 14 matchup between the Cleveland Browns and Pittsburgh Steelers. But before we get into that, we're trying to get to 6,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, leave a like and a comment. Let us know who you think will win this game and why. Ryan, the Steelers are out for revenge blood here. The Browns beat them just a couple weeks ago on Thursday Night Football, and what had to be just the most fun environment to watch a football game, how it turned into that just absolute crazy snow globe game as well. Ironically, too, that's when all the scoring happened in that game as well, which makes it even more fun. But Jameis Winston has turned this Cleveland Browns offense around. Great performance tonight on Monday Night Football. Couple of bad picks. That's what you're going to get with Jameis Winston, but you're also going to be able to throw it for nearly 500 yards as well. And so when we saw him play against the Pittsburgh Steelers when they won a couple weeks ago, very controlled. I felt like when he had started to push it down the field a little bit, that's when you saw some of the mistakes. Pittsburgh Steelers kind of helped give them back opportunities to take that lead again, but that's what you're going to get with his gunslinger mentality of his, and it's super fun to watch as a fan. And so Pittsburgh, I say gunslinger mentality. Pittsburgh put up 44 points against the Cincinnati Bengals defense and were able to pull out a win against Joe Burrow and company. Want to throw it over to you here. Kind of what are your overall thoughts for this matchup, especially, too, since these teams played just a couple weeks ago, and how Pittsburgh, especially then, too, how both the Browns and Pittsburgh looked in Week 13?
Well, so it's funny, like right before we started recording this video, we were like, oh, this should be a quick video. Then I was like, well, like a couple weeks ago, the Browns actually beat the Steelers. And so in these division games, you never really know what to expect. And so I think like the Browns come in, I think similar game plan, balanced offense, have Jameis Winston push the ball down the field. He has the big arm. He is definitely not afraid to throw into tight coverage. And so for me, I think that's just the Browns are kind of at that like effort point in the season. Like, let's go win games. And if we throw a pick and lose, who really cares at this point? The only thing it's doing is helping our draft stock. So that's kind of, I think, where the Browns are. The Steelers, like they're in prime playoff position here. I mean, they're 9-3. Like, kind of looking at the AFC right now, they're the 3 seed, I believe.
They're the 3 seed as of right now.
And so you have Kansas City, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, and then the Texans are 8-5 leading their division. So this is a big one because I believe they play Kansas City next week, right? Or in 2 weeks.
They have like the holiday special coming.
Oh, that's actually it's on Christmas Day. It's in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And so
and they play Baltimore on that Saturday before actually.
Yeah. And so those are going to be some really big games for them coming up. This to me is a must win if they want to be in that playoff contention for like being one of the top seeds. Like obviously like they're in playoff contention, but if they want to be in that Buffalo Kansas City conversation, potentially vying for one of those spots, they have to play
home field.
Yeah, they have to play a really good next few games to be in that conversation because they have a chance to not only beat Kansas City, but get the tiebreaker over them and give them another loss, which would knock them down a spot. And so that could be the difference between 1 and 2 home playoff games for them. So to me, going in, getting a good division record is also important. It is another form of a tiebreaker. This is a really big game for Pittsburgh as well. And then also, as you said, just go back and get one that you lost in Cleveland. A few weeks ago.
And to add on to that too, Baltimore's on a bye this week, so one fight for the AFC South, or the AFC North, just in general. They could go 2 games up on them, and with a tiebreaker, and with a game to play. So it's going to be very fascinating as well when it comes to the matchups overall. I think what Cleveland was able to do, and one, it's a rivalry game, so they see these teams 2 times a year, anyways. But Cleveland's able to kind of hit some of the weaknesses right now, I feel, for Pittsburgh. They have their offensive line's been playing well, but they still have some season-ending injuries to their starters. And the Browns' defensive line still is a solid defensive line. Anything with Myles Garrett on it is going to be a good defensive line. as well. They have solid secondary as well with Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome also that's able to stymie George Pickens. And that's just kind of the issue with the Steelers offense as of right now. They have other good role players, and a lot of them had really good games against the Cincinnati Bengals, like Van Jefferson, for example, Calvin Austin. Pat Freiermuth is, I would say, their number 2 option, and he had a good game catching a touchdown. He's just a reliable tight end, but a lot of times doesn't really like blow up the stat sheet normally. But and so that's where I think the Browns defense kind of matches up decently well against this Pittsburgh Steelers offense, which is like we're trying to work things methodically down the field, except for the Cincinnati Bengals game, where they put up 44 points. So take that as
they're throwing bombs to George Pickens.
Absolutely, yeah. Van Jefferson, all those guys. And so I think both teams had a defensive touchdown as well. So kind of a wild game. But on the flip side, though, this is where I think the matchup's really fun. It is Jameis Winston has this ability now with this Cleveland Browns offense to they can go score on any play. Well, let me put it this way. Anybody can score on a Jameis Winston throw. Which you might not – it's probably going to be the Browns, but there's also a good chance that the defense could go and score, as we saw tonight.
60-40.
Yeah. 60-40 chance. And so he brings that gunslinger mentality. You've got the good weapons now that like – seeing the talent of Jerry Jeudy explode, especially at Denver, that was fun to watch. Elijah Moore is doing well. David Njoku, I think, is one of the more underrated tight ends in the league as well. So there are some weapons on this team that Winston's able to throw to that can kind of exploit the Steelers defense. The issue is I think just this Browns offensive line is banged up as well. Jedrick Wills, he was out tonight.
They have like 4 or 5 guys that were starting the season for them that are no longer.
Yeah, sorry, I'm having a brain fart right now. But can they keep him protected enough going up against T.J. Watt and this team and this defensive line? They were able to do that a couple weeks ago, which allowed Jameis Winston to make a couple of those drives to score touchdowns to go up late. But now being in Pittsburgh away. Are they going to be able to replicate that same performance against a really good Pittsburgh Steelers defense? Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a fun matchup, a fun AFC North matchup here as well. Let's go ahead. Let's get into predictions here. I'll kick it off. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh. I just feel like they're the better team coming in here. I really like Jameis Winston and what he's done in Cleveland, especially like he is very entertaining to watch on and off the field, like just a great personality. And you can tell his teammates really love him and whatnot. But I just don't think he has enough to get it done against a high-level AFC team. He was able to keep it close there until the end against Denver, who I think is also a borderline high-level AFC team. And so I think it'll be fun. This game will be interesting. But I think in the fourth quarter, the Steelers separate themselves.
Yeah, I'm also going to go with Pittsburgh here as well. I think just being at home is going to be a huge advantage for them. They played pretty well. They played well at home. Their only loss was to Dallas of all teams this year, actually. But in general, though, too, I'm trying to go back. I mean, they had a close game with the Chargers earlier on, but they pulled away in the second half, and that was Justin Fields led offense. They've done well at home, and I think it's going to be a huge advantage for that team here. Yeah, so I'm going to go with Pittsburgh also.
Okay, so we're both taking Pittsburgh in this matchup. Let's go ahead and wrap this video up here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. That is the best way to help out the channel. While you're down there, go ahead and leave a comment on who you think is going to come out ahead in this AFC North matchup. Will it be the Cleveland Browns? Will it be the Pittsburgh Steelers? And that we'll see you guys next time.